Hey, what's up you guys? My name is Amber. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Night World series, specifically Volume 2. Now, if you haven't already, I would definitely recommend checking out my first video on the series that is centered around Night World Volume 1, where I talk about the summaries and the overall book itself. So go ahead and check that out so you are up to date on what I am talking about in this video. But as a refresher, the Night World series was written by L.J. Smith, the same author as the original Vampire Diaries. The series is centered around vampires, witches, werewolves, and shapeshifters, who are all in a secret society called the Night World. So a few important concepts to remember when going into the series is one, that the Night World has very strict rules. That you are not allowed to reveal the existence of the Night World to a human, and that you are absolutely not allowed to fall in love with a human. And the punishment for breaking either of these rules is the death of both parties involved. Two, there's also the soulmate concept, which is known as a very old magic, almost folklorish type thing within the Night World that hasn't been in practice or observed in, recent years, until now with the existence of this series where everyone involved has been finding their soulmate, which is someone that they're undeniably bound to, whether they like it or not, for all of eternity. Which is kind of terrifying if you're not that into it, but... So with all of that being said, we're going to go ahead and take a look at Volume 2, which includes the books Dark Angel, The Chosen, and Soulmate. The first book in the volume is a bit different from anything else that we've seen so far, as it doesn't immediately let on to the existence of the Night World and takes a couple of chapters to actually, get into it and see why it's a part of the rest of the series. In Dark Angel, we meet Jillian, high school student who is walking home in the snow when she wanders into the woods and accidentally falls into the creek, only to fight her way out and be unable to make her way out of the forest, and freezes to death. That's when she meets an otherworldly being who gives her the choice to stay in the afterlife or to go back into the human world, since it wasn't her time to go. She chooses to live, and Angel follows her back, acting as a guide to help her get whatever she wants. Popularity, her dream guy, whatever. When some of her classmates start to plot against her because her newfound popularity has kind of screwed them over, Angel reveals to Jillian her unknown ancestry of being a witch, and therefore a member of the Night World. After a series of more sinister requests from Angel, Jillian is led into a Night World nightclub, where she meets Ash, who we know very well from Volume 1. Ash gets her out of the club before anything bad happens, believing her to be a human, which prompts Jillian to finally question the angelic origin of her companion, to which Angel responds that he would never hurt her, he's her soulmate. But Jillian doesn't feel the same way, and questions if Angel is really as harmless as he claims he is. The Chosen starts off with 5-year-old Rochelle at the playground with her mother and her younger brother Timmy. After a little while of playing, Timmy had disappeared, so Rochelle runs off to go find him, only to discover his blood getting sucked by a vampire. Barely getting away after watching her mother's neck get snapped, Rochelle knew the vampire who took Timmy would be back for her, and was proven right when her aunt's house got burned down with her in it. Without any other family left, Rochelle gets put into foster care. Fast forward, and Rochelle is now 17, as well as being a vampire hunter that is so good that the Night World is actually scared of her. Paired with a team of other people on a nightly mission, they capture Quinn, one of the most notorious vampires of the Night World, who we have met briefly as the cousin of Ash and his sisters in Volume 1. In a perfect position to kill, Rochelle finds herself unable to do it, and is hypnotically entranced by Quinn, which is just surprising to her as it is to him. To the extreme anger of her partners, Rochelle allows Quinn to get away, with no logical explanation as to why. Now an outsider to her colleagues, Rochelle goes on patrol alone, where she's helped save Daphne, a girl kidnapped by vampires, only for them to intentionally get themselves kidnapped again by an apathetic Quinn and his partners. Now held hostage on an island, Rochelle and her unlikely partner Daphne must find a way to help 24 captive girls escape alive. In Soulmate, we meet Hannah, who thinks she's going insane. She's paranoid, constantly thinks something's out to get her, and leaves herself notes. Notes that she doesn't remember writing and seemingly make no sense. Her new psychologist seems to have a logical explanation for everything, but none of it quite fits. nuts. Especially after an appointment that's cut short when a giant, almost human-like wolf comes in through the window and attacks Hannah, and another wolf seemingly comes to her rescue. After things calm down, her therapist suggests a hypnosis session. He doesn't really believe in it, but what's the harm, right? So in a hypnotic trance, Hannah goes back to the first of her many reincarnated lives as Hannah of the Three Rivers, where she meets Theory, a vampire, the second vampire in existence to be exact, who happens to be her soulmate and has found her in every one of her reincarnations. But some dislodged memories tell Hannah that he's evil, that he's killed her in every one of her past lives, so she makes it her mission to stay away from him, which is really hard to do when he specifically seeks her out and tries to turn her into a vampire so they can finally be together forever. Or did he? Things get tricky when extremely powerful vampires get involved, and even trickier when we finally get a glimpse at what's happened to all of the characters we've met in previous installments. So, with all of that being said, I must say I simultaneously liked and disliked this volume even more than the first one. I do think that the actual storylines were a little bit more intriguing and a little bit more inventive in this volume. However, I am not a fan of involving children in stories such as this, which we see almost kind of in Dark Angel as well as in The Chosen, but a small price to pay for interesting storylines. The books are still definitely within the realm of young adult. However, I do kind of retract my previous statement as saying that they could be, you know, more advanced middle grade. I don't think so, seeing as the volumes go along, the particular storylines and themes that are explored become a little bit more adult type concepts. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend that for as young as middle school, but definitely high school and, you know, young adult. Two, the concepts that are explored in this volume are definitely more elevated and more complex than the ones that we saw in volume 1. And it is nice to see the plots expanding a little bit and to having more variety of what kind of content we're getting. But I do wonder how that's going to go with the third volume. Is it going to keep, you know, getting wilder and wilder, or is it going to kind of, you know, mellow out and stay where it's at? I am definitely curious to see as I am reading the third volume as I film this video. But with all of that being said, I definitely would still recommend the series. It is still just as good, if not getting better. It is still, you know, holding and piquing my interest. I haven't, you know, been bored of it yet, and now I am sick. I have completely finished 6 volumes of the series with no intention of stopping before I finished the next 3. So go ahead and give it a go if any of that sounds interesting to you. Thank you guys so much for watching. I had a blast hanging out with y'all. Peace.